The following episode describes in detail reported speculation and alleged whereabouts of a missing person and unproven reports of actions taken by family members and friends and other relations. Listener discretion is advised. It's around 9 p.m. on December 23rd, 1982. 58-year-old Marion Kerswell hangs up the phone after a short call with her friend. Marion has Christmas Eve plans with her daughter for some last-minute shopping and Christmas dinner preparations the next day. But after hanging up the phone with her friend, Marion is never heard from again. When her daughter arrives at Marion's home on Margin Street on Christmas Eve, Marion is nowhere to be found. More than 40 years later, same question still lingers. What happened to Marion Kerswell?
Unsolved Worcester is brought to you by the following sponsors. Follow the crowd through the doors of Donut Homies and say hi to Haley Noel, the donut queen of Worcester's Canal District. This month, the specialty donut shop features special flavors like birthday cake and salted caramel cheesecake. Donut Homies is open inside the Worcester Public Market at 160 Green Street every Wednesday through Sunday at 11 a.m. Online ordering with delivery and pickup options is available at donuthomies.com. Follow Donut Homies on Facebook and Instagram for monthly menu drops, specials, and more. Donut Homies, everything sweeter with the homies.
Welcome to Unsolved Worcester. I'm your host, Dan Yeager. In today's episode, we share the unsolved missing person case of 58-year-old Marion Kerswell, one of 10 unsolved missing person cases we will share this season on Unsolved Worcester. Marion was reported missing by her family on Christmas Eve, 1982. Unsolved Worcester will take a deep dive every Tuesday and Thursday into unsolved murders and missing persons cases under investigation by the Worcester Police Department's Detective Unit. We'll be looking to the past, to missing person cases that date as far back as the early 1970s and 80s. The most important question this season is, where are they? The approach to Unsolved Worcester is this: shine a light on each of these cases. Put a life behind each missing person's name. Provide a timeline of events and important details, and ask questions that still need to be answered. Our goal is to remind residents of the Worcester area, both past and present, that there are dozens of unsolved homicides and missing person cases that need resolution. We hope we can be the spark needed to solve a case. Around 9 p.m. on December 23rd, 1982, Marion Kerswell spent 15 minutes on the phone with her friend and co-worker Florence Cronin. Marion and Florence worked together at the Catholic Charities. Marion was telling Florence she couldn't be at work on Christmas Eve so she could do some last-minute shopping and dinner preparations with her daughter, Lorraine Jacobson. They also discussed New Year's Eve celebrations at Worcester's First Night event at Lincoln Square. Later that night, Marion's son Gene and her grandson Eugene, who live with Marion at the Margin Street home, arrived home and assumed Marion had already gone to bed. The next morning, on Christmas Eve, December 24th, 1982, Gene and Eugene didn't see Marion before they left the house. They believed she had already left for work at Catholic Charities. Lorraine went to her mother's home on Margin Street around 5 p.m. to pick her mother up. When Lorraine arrived, Marion wasn't home. So Lorraine waited, believing her mother was probably out running other errands. 30 minutes later, around 5:30 p.m., Gene arrived to help his mother with gift wrapping and cooking. Gene had expected to hear from Marion that day around noon, but she never called him. So Lorraine and Gene waited together for their mom to come home. They waited and waited. Hours later, they started to worry. It was 9 p.m. They started calling around to family and friends to find out if they had seen Marion. No one had. They called all the cab companies and local hospitals. No one had seen Marion. Inside the home on Margin Street, all looked normal. There was no signs of struggle or forcible entry. Marion's shoes were all still there. Her heart and blood pressure pills were still in the bathroom. There were some items missing. Marion's beige trench coat and blue and white bathrobe were both missing. Family also couldn't find Marion's prized jewelry, heart-shaped onyx earrings and a bulova watch. It was almost as if Marion had left the house before she finished getting ready to start her day. Around 1:30 a.m. on Christmas Day, 1982, Marion's family reported her missing. Marion Kerswell was the mother of 5 children. She worked for Catholic charities, providing in-home services to elderly and handicapped people. She was 58 years old, white, with red hair and glasses. She weighed around 145 pounds. Marion lived with her son Gene and her grandson Eugene at 31 Margin Street, a single-family home on a small, steep, dead-end side road off Grafton Street near Sunderland Road. In 1982, the other side of the dead end of Margin Street was a mostly wooded area extending nearly all the way to Blythewood Avenue and Massasoit Road. It was a relatively dangerous terrain for a woman of Marion's age to traverse with nothing but a trench coat and a bathrobe on. The family wasn't sure if she was even wearing shoes when she left the house. The days following Marion's disappearance, her family and police searched the woods behind Margin Street with the assistance of bloodhounds. A Gardner State Prison search dog was also used to comb the area. On December 27, 1982, 3 days after police were notified that Marion was missing, the case got its first big break. Marion's bloody dentures were discovered on the living room floor of the Margin Street home by Marion's son, Frank Chase. It's believed the family dog found the dentures somewhere and carried them into the home. By May 1983, less than 6 months after Marion disappeared, the case was being handled by both Worcester Police Department's Missing Persons Unit and local detectives and State Police Crime Prevention Unit, investigating it as a possible homicide. Detectives searched surrounding central Massachusetts towns and even made inquiries in Washington state, where one of Marion's sons lived. Divers searched nearby Lake Quinsigamond. Marion's family hired private investigators and visited psychics to get answers, but ultimately, the search came up empty. Coming up, we find out who might be responsible for her disappearance. In mid-January 1983, the investigation into the disappearance of Marion Kerswell was in full swing. Police interviewed Marion's family members, friends, and co-workers at Catholic charities. Worcester police administered lie detector tests to 6 of Marion's relatives. Marion's family also wanted a lie detector test administered to Edward Kender, Marion's boyfriend. Police questioned Kender and confirmed that he was in Marion's home on Margin Street on December 23, 1982, the last time Marion was seen or heard from. According to a report in the Telegram and Gazette, Marion's sons said Kender told them that he was in their mother's home till 6:30 p.m. on December 23rd. However, after neighbors reported seeing Kender's car in front of the home at Margin Street until 9:30 p.m. that night, Kender changed his story and admitted that he was there until 9:30. Marion's family also claimed that Kender got into an argument with Marion on the day she went missing. Kender refused to take a lie detector test, claiming medical reasons. He died in 1987. In 1992, Marion's family and police believed that Marion was dead. How or why she may have been killed were the questions needling her children. Now, more than 40 years later, the same questions surrounding Marion's disappearance linger. Thank you for listening. I'm Dan Yeager. If you enjoyed listening to this episode, please consider clicking the like button for us. If you subscribe, the next episodes will show up in your feed. Click the bell icon on the right. You'll get a notification of when the next episode is ready. If you have any thoughts you'd like to share, please leave them in the comments below. We do read them all and respond to as many as we can. Anyone with information about what happened to Marion Kerswell are asked to contact the Worcester Police Detective Bureau at 508-799-8651 or send an anonymous text to 274-637. Write TIPWPD plus your message or send an anonymous web-based message at worcesterma.gov/police. Come back on Thursday. Season 3 of Unsolved Worcester continues with the 2009 disappearance of Patricia Santos, a recovering addict who may have been the victim of a volatile relationship and a surrounding conspiracy. Be sure to visit Unsolved Worcester on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Unsolved Worcester. Listen to all episodes for free at unsolvedworcester.com and on podcast streaming platforms including Spotify, Apple, Audible, and more. Special thanks to the Worcester Public Library, the Worcester Police Department, the City of Worcester, Ron Scott at New England Sky Picks, and our sponsors for making this possible. Information on the disappearance of Marion Kerswell was gathered from multiple resources, including the Telegram and Gazette. The Unsolved Worcester podcast music is provided by Tom LaBelzik of the Worcester Jazz Collective. This episode of Unsolved Worcester is written and produced by Pat Sargent. Drone footage provided by New England Sky Picks. Videography and editing by Colin Turner. Victim images are courtesy of the Worcester Police Department. Sponsorship information announcer Chandler Walsh. Be sure to check out the video for this episode with exclusive aerial views and more on our Unsolved Worcester YouTube page. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't miss another episode. Click the notification button to get alerts when new episodes of Unsolved Worcester drop. This program is supported in part by a grant from the Worcester Arts Council and the National Endowment for the Arts. To find out more about how National Endowment for the Arts grants impact individuals and communities, visit www.arts.gov.